Welcome back to the Renaissance, episode 226.
So happy to be here. It's super excited.
Michelangelo, part 4.
Yeah.
Ray?
Yeah.
The early life of Michelangelo, as we like to say.
With a little bestiality and orgy thrown in. No, please, you go.
We're all in orgy mode. In our last episode, we talked about his earliest surviving work, the Madonna of the Stairs, Madonna of the Steps, Madonna della Scala, and how even at 15, 16, he was showing a lot of prodigy. He was showing a lot of talent.
Something? Yeah.
Promise.
Were you showing promise at 16? I wasn't. I'll just be honest. I'm still waiting, but what about
Honestly,
you? Yeah.
At 16, right. I was writing, directing, producing, and starring in my own theater productions in my hometown.
Nice.
Yeah. And
did you do off Broadway?
Yeah.
Australian Broadway?
It was off Broadway. No, there was a restaurant. I was running theater restaurants at 16 in
dinner theater.
My hometown of Bundaberg.
Right.
I got involved in it a year or so earlier. There was a guy who was running it, and then he quit after the first year I was involved.
Oh.
And I was like, how fucking hard can this be? So sat down with my mother's typewriter, which I have right here these days beside me. It's like a World War I era Olivetti typewriter.
That's good in the Cameron Library. Go ahead.
I wrote scripts and produced, directed, hired all my friends and my girlfriend at the time, who was quite a bit older than me.
Yeah, she was.
And who I was banging. And she was the choreographer. She ran a dance school. And we put on shows.
Nice.
Put on shows that I directed and starred in. And
that creative
then
flair.
And there was picking up the ladies. Yeah.
Yeah, it was there. All right, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I talked to a girl when I was 17. Very excited. First time. Anyway, we don't have to. Let's just go on.
No light. There was a little bar at this restaurant, and none of the main staff were there when I was doing rehearsals. So I'd be pouring myself a glass of scotch at 16, sitting on a stool, drinking the scotch, directing the rest of the cast. It was, in my head, I was Frank Sinatra at 16.
So fucking cool. Yeah. Good for you.
Yeah.
Then you switched up and you went even sexier by becoming a podcaster. So good for you. Good for you.
Peaked. I peaked at 16. Okay, so we're going to talk about the Battle of the Centaurs, and I will, for those of people watching our YouTube, I will jump to this so you can see it.
Nice.
So this is the Battle of the Centaurs. Again, same sort of period. He's 16, 17 when he does this.
Right.
And as I said in our last episode, he was so enamored by what he did at this age that he kept this with him his entire life, never sold it, even though there were offers to buy it. And apparently told his biographer that he would look at this and wish he'd spent more time in his life doing sculpture, because he knew he obviously had talent from a very early age. I wish I hadn't wasted my time painting the fucking Sistine Chapel. What a waste of time that was. I should have carved more naked boys in marble.
Should have said no. You don't say no to the Pope, though, especially that Pope, but we'll get to that later.
Well, that reminds me, the band Sparks. I love Sparks. I'm a big Sparks fan.
Huge.
They had a single off the first single off their most recent album. The single is called Do Things My Own Way. And there's a line in it that I love, which is, saw the Pope, told him nope, gonna do things my own way.
I like that.
Saw the Pope.
That's good advice.
Told him nope, gonna do things my own way.
Yeah. So this is another relief sculpture and this one's bigger, right? This one's bigger than the last one.
It is bigger, and I think even more impressive when you look at the way the bodies are coming out of the marble here.
Yes.
Again, another great example of contrapposto in Italian, the balancing of the arms and the shoulders with the hips and the legs, movement, twisting, turning, the way these bodies are coming out is incredible.
Oh yeah.
Um, so before we get into the sculpture, let's talk about what the sculpture is depicting. So the Battle of the Centaurs is
Yeah.
a mythic battle
Are
between
you
the
sure it's
Lapiths
mythic? Right. Right.
and the
Okay.
Centaurs.
Right.
It was a popular subject of art in ancient Greece, and the story was suggested to Michelangelo by our old friend, scholar, poet, gay man about town, Poliziano, and it was probably coming out of the Metamorphosis of Ovid, which
Mm,
people had rediscovered during the Renaissance. It was being read.
talked about.
Michelangelo couldn't read Latin or
Right.
Greek, so he wasn't reading it in the original, but there was at least one Italian translation by this stage. He might have been reading that, or maybe people were just talking about it
Yeah.
and telling him the stories. This sculpture, by the way, is also kept at the Casa Buonarroti in Florence. If you are in the area, you want to go check it out.
Yeah.
And this is dramatically different from what anyone else was doing in Florence at the time, because he's working multi-dimensionally
Yeah.
to depict what's going on here. Most people at the time were doing more flat bas reliefs, like the last one that we saw. He's really going to town
Oh
on
yeah.
this, as you can see. It's incredible.
Explosion of movement. And again, there was now again, I think it was correct me if I'm wrong. The first one was not a little an out and out, excuse me. The first one was not an out and out copy of something. Of course, the idea of Mary with baby Jesus and cherubs, that's all been done ad nauseum. But I think as far as that composition, that was an original Michelangelo. Now, for this one, even though he's going to tweak it as is his wont because he's got his own ideas, there was a work of this in bronze at the Medici Palace by Bartoldo di Giovanni. But again, he's hearing the story. He sees this. He's inspired. But that doesn't mean he is not going to give it its own twist. And this was, as far as I know, this was not commissioned. He just said, oh, I'd like to take a stab at this. But what is he going to do in bronze? No, again, it's going to be in marble. Marble's cheaper. No one's asking for it. It's just this guy going, let me see what I can do. I got some ideas. And again, he's 16 years old.
So this is the first sculpture he worked on where he's using the tool known as a bow drill, which looks like a
Arrow.
a bow.
A bow. Sorry.
Yeah, and it has a handle that
Yeah,
you
yeah,
turn
he's-
around to
Yeah.
drive it in.
Yeah.
And a kind of chisel known as a subia chisel, which is a pointed chisel or a punch that they use. It's got like a pyramid shaped or a conic tip used for roughing out or basic shaping, creating punch marks on materials like marble. Use a mallet or a hammer to strike the chisel in to break away bits of the marble. So he's using. Oh, why are you seeing my wrong window? You're seeing the wrong window there. Let me move this over here. You're seeing my notes and not my image. Yeah, why are you seeing the wrong thing? Let me get the right window here. There we go. I'll keep that still while I read my notes.
Yeah. Where do you get your
No.
notes from? Just wondering.
Where do I get them from?
Books. No, that was your opportunity to make a joke about real research.
Everything I know I get from books.
Right. Never mind. Go ahead.
So this is significant. Also, it's in the tradition of non finito, or not finishing
On
a
purpose.
sculpture.
Yeah.
Well, yes, it is believed on purpose. If you look closely at it, again, I don't think I can zoom up much on this, but you'll see that
Still, Yeah.
Quite a lot of areas of it are deliberately, we believe, unfinished because we know he kept this for the rest of his life. He could have finished it if he wanted, but he decided not to.
Right.
I want to talk about centaurs, though.
Please.
Like, where the fuck do centaurs come from? I'll tell you more about this story as we go, but
Right.
in the myths, centaur, there's a couple of different origins of centaurs
Sure.
in the ancient myths. The most common is the fact that they are the sons of Ixion, who was a king punished by Zeus, and Nephele, a cloud shaped like Hera.
Right. A clown. Can you have sex
Yeah.
with a
So
You know what? Never mind.
you can. Yeah. If you've never had sex with a cloud, you
Cloud
have not
sex.
lived, my friend.
I have never had
Cloud.
cloud sex.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, please continue.
There's another variation on the origins of them that link them to Centaurus, who was a deformed child of Apollo
Sure.
who mated with mares,
Yeah. Yeah.
more than one. He was just banging female horses left, right, and center. Again, if you haven't
Horse
done that,
lover.
you haven't lived.
Right.
Yeah, and he had a deformed child. They supposedly lived in mountains and forests around Thessaly and Arcadia,
Yeah.
rugged landscapes away from the cities. Unlike satyrs, goat men,
Right.
who were more mischievous than violent, centaurs were known for their lack of restraint. They would get drunk.
Passionate.
When they got drunk, they
Right.
wanted to fuck and
Yeah.
fight.
Right. And not sometimes at the same time. It depends with the anyways. And so that's going to come into the story.
So the most famous story is the Centauromachy, which is a battle between centaurs and the Lapiths, who were humans, at a wedding feast.
Sure.
And that's what this sculpture is depicting, the wedding feast. The Lapiths themselves were a group of legendary people in Greek mythology who lived in Thessaly, were believed to have descended from a gentleman by the name of Lapithes, who was the brother of Centaurus.
Uh-oh. It's personal.
In that version of the story. So there's a big wedding feast.
Yeah.
The centaurs had been invited, but weren't used to drinking wine.
Yeah.
They got shit-faced, and when the bride, Hippodamia, was presented to greet the guests, the centaur Eurytion leapt up and tried to capture her and run off with her.
Yeah, break me off a piece of that. Yeah, I think it's a direct quote.
All the other centaurs got in on it and were trying to fuck all of the women and the boys at the wedding feast.
Right.
They were just pants off, and I don't know, centaurs wear pants. They were ready to go.
They were ready to go.
And
right.
Yes, then a big battle broke out between the Lapiths and the centaurs.
Yeah.
Theseus came to the Lapiths' aid. They ended up cutting off Eurytion's ears and nose and threw him out. Now, if you've never cut off a centaur's nose, you haven't lived. Of course, he's got a human head, so it's not like you're cutting off a horse's nose.
Yeah.
And the centaurs were expelled from Thessaly. Worth putting out, though, the other depiction of the centaurs is Chiron, who is a wise centaur who taught Achilles and Asclepius and others, the noble savage.
Oh, yeah.
Was that Chiron from when we talked about Achilles?
Yeah. That was a while ago. So he was able to...
He was also a teacher of Jason and the Argonauts. He was the wise... you can have the wise savage. Like, we know that they would get their slaves, and every now and again they had a slave who they would go, you know what, you're smarter than the average slave. You can teach our children.
Wax on, wax off. Or, you know what I'm saying. Yeah. Teach the future.
You say Mr. Miyagi was a slave? Did he work for Daniel-san? Really?
He was like that.
He's a wage slave.
I'm not, you know what, I feel uncomfortable at this point. Let's move on.
So I drilled into the theories of the development of centaurs. You know, what's the point of centaurs in Greek and Roman mythology?
Right.
Some scholars think that maybe the Greeks, who weren't horse riders at an early stage, first saw nomadic tribes who were skilled mountain warriors. And from a distance, it looked like they were one creature. You saw a human on a horse riding along.
Right.
And didn't the archers in Thessaly, didn't the Thessalians have the great archers who could ride backwards and be firing arrows while they were retreating?
Yeah, because
Were
like
they
the
from
Parthian
Thessaly?
shot. Yeah, so it's definitely
Yeah.
a tradition
Oh,
in that
yeah.
region. So
Parthia.
yeah,
Yeah.
so definitely in that region.
Mm.
We're skilled. Yeah, to be able to retreat and inflict damage on your enemy at the same time, priceless.
Mm. So that may have sparked tales of man-horse hybrids.
Right.
Then there's also the symbolic view of them. They sort of embodied the clash between civilization and untamed nature.
Yes.
You know, the humans can be civilized, but they get a few drinks in them and they become wild beasts
they're
and
ready to
wild
fuck.
animals. So,
Yeah, the difference
way of
between
explaining that.
yeah, and like you said earlier, excuse me, like you said earlier, this was a very favorite subject of Greek sculptors and painters. And right, this very battle that breaks out in the middle of this wedding, the war itself was going to go on for a year, but the battle in this wedding, like you said, it depicts the difference between order and chaos, civilized Greeks versus Persian barbarians. And as we're going to see, I won't give it away yet, but Michelangelo is going to take that one step further. But again, it's just, everything that we do, it's just like any other culture, right? We're the normal good guys. We're civilized. Everybody else is barbarians compared to us. And so the fact that they're half animal, I think helps with that analogy or with that example that they are truly uncivilized. And again, so the Greeks lapped this up, no pun intended, and they sculpted a lot and they painted a lot about it because they're the good guys in the story.
And I think it's not just foreign barbarians too. It's the barbarian within us all, like our animalistic or our liminal nature, as they say, like our ability to have a civilized side and an uncivilized side. And the Romans actually took the Greek idea and pushed it a little bit into sexy land, as you would expect, being Romans. They were like, you know what? Horses have got big dicks.
Yes.
And we love a
Yes.
big dick in Rome.
We really
so
do. Yes.
sort of merged it into bacchanalian, sexy, drunken. They loved a good drunken orgy, the Romans.
Good times. Yeah.
So in their artwork in particular, the centaurs became more sort of playful, drunken party goers with huge cocks. So they stuck around, though, in artwork because they were kind of flexible. You could use them as threats, like with the Centauromachi and the wedding feast, where they could get drunk and abusive or rapey.
Right.
They could be teachers, like Chiron.
Right.
They could be allegories of the dualities of man, reason versus passion, or they could just be ornaments with a big cock. I mean, you could do a lot of different things with them.
You could do it.
Same way my wife treats me.
Right.
She can use me for like my brain,
Right.
or just use me for a cock.
Right.
Yeah.
You can do a lot with the big cock.
Get that tongue out.
I think you will find.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, anyway, we should.
Yeah.
We should.
So I've heard. People have told me.
We should move.
The Renaissance humanists love them as well because hybrids like centaurs, there's a lot of hybrids in human mythology, griffins and the Sphinx and, whatever, the Furies.
Right.
Lots of hybrids. They could be symbolic of the divided human condition, which the humanists were big into, right?
Mm-hmm.
Thinking about how we're part rational, part animal, this whole Platonic Christian idea of the spirit that has to control the flesh.
Right.
The flesh is weak. The spirit has to stay strong.
Yeah.
Lots of ways that they could use it.
Yeah.
The moral philosophers during the humanist period like to work with it as well for instinct and reason. The naturalists, the natural philosophers, like to question whether or not centaurs had once existed. Like
It's a good question.
dinosaurs,
Right.
were they something that had once existed and had disappeared, been killed off?
Yeah.
Like unicorns. They were useful in a lot of different ways.
Exactly.
Anyway, back to Michelangelo.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. We're talking about him.
Now,
Yeah.
this is supposedly a depiction of the battle between the Lapiths and the Centaurs. Ray, how
Yeah.
many Centaurs can you spot in this
Well,
sculpture?
I'm going to be honest with you. When I started looking, and I'm not sure exactly what I'm looking for, but I'll know it when I see it. It's like watching the earliest Star Trek. It's like the Klingons look like humans; they just have goatees. You know what I'm saying? So the point I'm looking. I don't see any centaurs. And it's probably me, but when I started reading, I'm like, oh, that's a centaur. Bullshit. So how many when you first started looking at it? How many did you count within the first 10 seconds?
I counted 1, 2, 3, 4, none. I can't find a centaur anywhere,
Right.
but
Yeah.
apparently I think this figure right in the center
Yeah,
here
with
is
his
supposed to
like
be,
hand up above his head. Yeah. Which
yeah,
is another
'cause
Michelangelo motif we'll go into later. Yeah, go ahead.
can you see my little arrow here on the screen? Is that appearing?
Hold on.
The little,
Move it again. Wiggle it. Wiggle it for me. Yes, I can see
I'm
it.
wiggling
Yes.
it.
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay.
Just don't move it fast.
So the,
Yeah.
yeah. Wiggle it. Yeah, I
Slowly.
can see it.
Slowly.
Wiggle it slowly. This guy here, he's got a rock that he's hurling at this guy. So this
Yes.
guy's obviously human. So I assume this guy's a centaur.
Right. Who's cheating, by the way? A rock? Come on. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why are they got big rocks at a wedding? No one knows. Maybe it's a loaf of bread that just is shaped like a rock. He's going to hit him with a loaf of bread.
Actually, there's a story I'll tell you at the end. There's a story about the old bald guy on the left with the big rock. There's a layered story. But anyway, that can wait till later.
All right.
Yeah.
This guy is obviously human, and this guy has his arm around him. So I assume this guy's a centaur. This person here is attacking this human, so I assume this is a centaur.
It's interlaced.
So,
right?
Yeah, reading between the lines, these are probably centaurs, but it's not obvious. Like you don't really see
Centauri
horse bodies. This could be a centaur on the ground. Here's like a hoof and a horse leg down the bottom here.
Yeah.
But that aside,
yeah,
it's just a lot of naked male bodies writhing about.
Oh yeah,
it does look like an orgy.
It does.
Yeah.
It
It's
does.
like a
very successful
orgy fantasy, really
successful.
Yeah.
Now,
well, all the best orgies turn into violence at the end, as we know.
A little violently, just a little. Anyway, supposedly, I don't want to get ahead of you, so tell me to stop. There is one female here, which, of course, if you go back to the story, we can get to that later. But anyway, there is supposedly one female.
Well, did you spot the female?
I didn't spot it because, again, they all just look like muscular guys who could show you a good time whether you want it or not. But, okay, so you see the guy in the center who's got his arm up like it. You go down, you go straight down, say to about where his knees are, and you go to the viewer's right. You see the person, we can see their back. Someone's grabbing their hair, and you can see the back.
This one here,
the back and the butt. Supposedly, that's the bride who they were trying to haul off. But again,
that's a female.
Yeah, an Amazon female, a Russian shot putter female, but supposedly that's the wife of the king that they were trying to drag away. So again, that was one one historian's interpretation. But yeah, no, it looks like a good time was had by all. I don't know. I get a little aroused. I don't see a lot of violence going on. I just see a lot of hugging and grappling, but in a good way.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Writhing bodies. Now, there's a violent struggle going on.
Yeah.
But apparently somebody's holding a club. I don't see a club really. I just see lots of rocks, but it's interesting in the absence of violence, actually. Now, Ovid's story is full of gratuitous violence. There are crushed skulls and gouged out eyes and splattered brains
Yeah,
for page after page after page in Ovid.
it sells.
And Michelangelo's not showing us any of that.
Right.
There are rocks and or loaves of bread and grappling, but whether he's deliberately removing the violence because he was squeamish,
Yeah.
or he wants to make it more sexy and less
Right.
gory.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this, because again, this is not a commission. No one's asking for this. Having said that, he does live in the Medici palace. His master, if that's the right word, is going to see this. A lot of the older, more better educated gentlemen are going to see this. And so does he care about what they might think? Is it just an exploration of his talent? Is it just the way he viewed the battle? It could be a lot of different things, but it's like, it's a still picture. There's a lot of struggle, but there's no gore. But there's a lot of beautiful, and I do mean beautiful, well-made, well put together nude male bodies, which is going to be a thing we're going to see a lot from Michelangelo over the years.
You know, my first thought when I was looking at this picture the other day and studying it was, yeah, I got a body like that now. I've got a Michelangelo
You
body.
do.
Yeah,
You
I
are
think Michelangelo was sculpting me.
You are qualified to pose. If he
Yeah.
was still here.
Do you want to see it again? Do you wanna-
Let's
do you
wait
wanna see it?
until
No.
well, let's just. I'm not saying
Turn the
no.
camera-
I'm not saying no.
Stop recording.
Just
Yeah.
let's wait until
Anyway,
after the
it's
curtains close. Oh, here we go. Yeah, so he's got it. He's got it.
like
Buff motherfucker.
Michelangelo body. Look at
Yes.
that.
Yeah. He's got I told him he had a 4.5 pack on his way to 6, ladies and gentlemen. So give it up. Anyway.
Really, throughout his career, Michelangelo didn't like to show violence. When there was an opportunity to do it in the Sistine Chapel, David's sword does not touch Goliath.
Right.
In the Last Judgment, there aren't any torments depicted. People aren't being brutally tortured. So
Yeah.
he was more interested in depicting spiritual suffering
Right.
rather than physical suffering.
Yeah. Literal gore. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what he's interested in, or sexy orgies between young buff men.
Tomato.
Yeah, exactly. But of course, if you look at this, like the way that he's able to take again a piece of rock,
Yeah.
piece of marble,
Yeah.
and depict at 15, 16, 17 all of these bodies and the action, and they're emerging in 3 dimensions out of this marble, and
Some greater,
have-
some lesser. Yes, absolutely. Sorry. Yeah.
it's amazing. It's really an incredible piece of work for anyone
Yeah.
at any age, let alone a fucking teenager
Right.
to pull out of his ass or pull out of a piece of marble.
Absolutely. I had read that one art historian said that the drawings before this, because you want to plan it out to a certain degree, were a lot less dynamic. But when he got going with the marble, maybe because again of his early childhood, spending all his time with the family that does marble. I mean, maybe he was truly inspired, and it was more. It's a better medium for him than a piece of paper and whatever he would use to write with. So, and again, it's full, it's busy. It's some of them are really sticking out. Some of them you can only see their heads. I mean, he's 16 years old, but it seems he's mastered the fuck out of reliefs. Now maybe he'll go on to do a standalone statue made out of marble. But as far as this, I mean, at 16 years old, I don't know if he could get any better. And like we said before, there were parts of it that were left purposefully rough, whether that was the style, his choice, both. But this is not the last time that he's going to leave something not quite finished.
You know what it reminds me of is Han Solo being frozen in the carbonite.
Yes, good one, except for they all have been frozen as is mid-stroke or whatever.
Darth Vader froze them all in carbonite.
Exactly. That's a good analogy. Yeah. Yeah. But it's balanced. It's beautiful. It's perfect.
Now, one of the books I read said that the freedom of action in space that he captures here was completely new to Renaissance sculpture and
Right.
unprecedented since ancient times.
Damn.
So again, like in the last episode, we talked about the dead baby Jesus arm,
Hmm.
um, which obviously baby Jesus worked out as the best way to masturbate is you give yourself a dead arm and then it feels like somebody else is doing it. That became a thing in Renaissance art. He invented that when he was 15. Here he is, 16 or 17, inventing
Oh, yeah.
three-dimensional marble sculpture.
Right.
Just, yep. What today, dear
Check.
diary, today
Yeah.
I invented something
That's right. Next.
uh,
What
in
will
sculpture.
what
Next,
will tomorrow bring? Yes, but and
yeah,
we'll go into this later. But his life, the circumstances of his life, soon after this is about to change. But we'll touch on that later.
yeah. So, I mean, I don't know if there's much more I can say about this apart from the fact that it's really insanely impressive for a teenager to pull out. And because of the amount of detail that's in it, I find myself looking at it
You
constantly. Like it's a bit like a Jackson Pollock
you
painting,
keep
right? You run your
finding
eyes
you
over it.
keep finding new.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I totally agree because I was zooming the fuck in because what was the tool that he used? Some of it, some of the tools or whatever left. I don't know if holes is the right word, but some kind of imperfection that normally you would choose once you're done to smooth over or to, but he left those in there on purpose or whatever, because again, he could have finished this if he wanted to, but I think he was just like nailed it in one. So he left it. But I did, oh, I wanted to add on to when you were talking about organization versus chaos, the Greeks, the things we were talking about earlier. One art historian said, and the guy on the left who's holding the stone, and there's a story behind that, but the one guy was saying this was also Michelangelo going stone over flesh because this guy's using a stone to kill the flesh. If you bash someone's head enough, stone wins, rock beats flesh, that kind of thing. So it was, and the other thing is he's carving, as long as people take care of this will last forever, whereas humans will die. So I don't know if the art historian was reading too much into that, but that was one of the other things that they said supposedly Michelangelo added to this. But I did want to just tell you the story real quick of the guy holding the rock. So supposedly, because Michelangelo, anybody who's around stone has heard the story. He wanted to be the new Phidias, who was a Greek sculptor who sculpted a large statue of Athena. But at the time, he was only a craftsman. He wasn't an artist, so he wasn't allowed to sign his work. But when he made her shield, he put himself on the shield. And he put himself on the shield because what it is going around the shield, there's like a whole bunch of men and various, archers and whatever. So it's him holding a rock pretty much like you see here, except for he's got hair because he's younger, I think. Anyways, so he's holding the rock, and that was his way of signing it. And it was that his way of saying rock represents sculpture. So again, there can be some parts of life that are as close as you can get to eternal. Humans are going to die, but a good sculpture, if it's taken care of, will last forever. So it was just another way for an artist to kind of stick it to the Greek authorities who would not let him sign. And I think that according to this historian, Michelangelo enjoyed that story so much that he slipped this guy in there who pretty much looks like the guy supposedly on the shield of Athena. So anyways, so again, he's not just carving, he's bringing in stories that he's heard. It's just, just a little bit of an attitude from a 16-year-old who I would argue a little bit cocky because he knows he's that good.
I thought you were going to tell me that guy, the bald guy, is a depiction of you.
No. He's too buff and he's too angry. I don't like to hurt people. I mean, I'll sneak up behind you and stab you in the back, but I'm not a fighter. I think we all know that's not me. That's not.
Check it out, Battle of the Centaurs. If you're not watching our YouTube show, go look it up. It's seriously worth a look. Both of these early works
Amazing.
by Michelangelo are worth some time to check them out, but particularly this one I find incredibly impressive. He's still living with Lorenzo de' Medici at the time, but as you foreshadowed, that's all about to change. And we'll talk about that probably next time.